Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Dave from Scent Memories. In this review, we're talking about a very special collection from my favorite house. These are called Semi-Bespoke fragrances. So if you don't know what Semi-Bespoke fragrances are, don't go away. So welcome back to my channel. Before we actually do the review, as always, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you can do so just by clicking that subscribe button down below. That way when I do upload a new video, you'll be the first to know about it. So today we're talking about Roja Dove's Semi-Bespoke fragrances. So what are Semi-Bespoke fragrances? Roja Dove Semi-Bespoke fragrances are an exclusive line of fragrances that are only available to be purchased at Harrods. So the Roja Dove Haute Perfumery at Harrods on the 6th floor. These are exclusive because they're not only available at Harrods or on the Roja Dove Haute Perfumery online, but the reason that they call it semi-bespoke fragrances are not because they're made for you or made customized to you. They're actually, the name is a little bit misleading. There's only 50 bottles, or there's only 50 of a particular fragrance from the semi-bespoke line made per year. So for example, Semi-Bespoke 1, they only bottle 50 of those per year. And then once it sells out, they will replenish it the next year. Personally, I think they actually make more than 50 because it's available pretty much year round, but that's neither here nor there. So let's talk about a little bit what fragrances are from the Roja Dove Semi-Bespoke line. These are a little bit redundant in some cases to the regular line in Roja Dove, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Some of these smell very similar to some of the ones you can get from the regular retail line. Some of these smell similar to other fragrances in other houses, but these are extremely high quality fragrances and they're exceptionally well blended. So the price point on these, if you get a single bottle, it's about 750 pounds. If you get a triple set, which is 3 bottles, that costs about 1,500 pounds, about $2,000 USD. I recommend getting these during the Harrods 10% off sale, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. It actually makes it a little bit more affordable, but it is still very expensive. So talking about the presentation of the box, these can come in one of 2 styles, a single box or a 3-bottle cave. I personally prefer the cave because it is a really beautiful presentation. In this case, it's a single box, so apologies for the reflection there. So you can see it says Roja Dove Haute Perfumery. Roja was kind enough to sign my box, so thank you so much, Roja. The bottle does sit here in this beautiful silk inlay. So if you have a 1-bottle cave, that's how it would sit. Now, it is a really beautiful black lacquered finish, the way you would see it in like the PDLN 1, 2, and 3 boxes. But this one is really gorgeous because it does have this black and white contrast here. So this is the 3-bottle cave. You can see here it's a pretty big box. It's very sturdy. It's very thick. It's well made. You have the 3 bottles here. So if you get a triple set, the 3 bottles will come in here. If you're lucky enough, and this is just an absolutely gorgeous presentation, if you're lucky enough to have a big enough display case or display area where you can display all of the bottles in the boxes, I'm very jealous of you because I don't have that ability. My bottles sit in my display by themselves, which is still beautiful. So the 3 triple sets we're talking about, or the 3 fragrances we're talking about today, are going to be 3 from the Semi-Bespoke line. The bottles come like this, so you can see here that it has this Roja Dove Haute Perfumery plaque here. It does say Semi-Bespoke, Parfums Semi-Bespoke on the bottle here. It has this very thick gold cap here, and it does say Roja Dove Haute Perfumery, and the cap itself is very heavy. On the back here, you can see the number, so you can't really see it here, but there's a number of the particular fragrance in the back. Roja was also kind enough to sign my bottle on the back here, so thank you, Roja. So today we're talking about 3 fragrances from the Semi-Bespoke line. Semi-Bespoke 3, 10, and 23. Some of my favorites personally. So let's talk about the first one. This one is Semi-Bespoke 3. Now, Semi-Bespoke 3 is an amber floral. It's a kind of a floral, spicy, woody fragrance. It does lean more towards a chypre, but in my opinion, it's actually more like fougere, like classic fougere. Let's spray this one. The sprayers on these are beastly. They're excellent sprayers, just like all Rojas are. All Rojas have excellent sprayers. I had too much coffee today, if you can't tell. So this really reminds me of a very similar to Chanel's Pour Monsieur, but a higher quality version. It does have its own nuances though. So It's not a clone or anything like that. So what do we get here? Oh man, I love this one. So the opening is this bright, juicy lemon, just like you smell in Chanel Pour Monsieur. It's a very juicy lemon with this herbaceous lavender. Um, the lavender here gives it a little bit more of that fougere aspect. Now the lavender that it's used here, I believe, is Lavandula latifolia. That gives it that kind of that herbaceousness. The cardamom here is a little bit fresh and aromatic. It definitely pops off the skin right away. You can smell that lavender and lemon kind of dancing together. It's almost like mentholated. The spices here does smell almost like eucalyptus, like almost minty. It does have a bit of cumin here. Now the cumin here is not like BO cumin. It just gives it a little bit of this animalic undertones that you'll find give it a little bit of that edge that separates it from the Chanel's Pour Monsieur. Now there's also civet here. Now civet is also, it's obviously synthetic, but it does work together with with a little bit of those animalic cumin notes to give it a little bit of that animalic edge, but in no way it's an animalic fragrance. It also has cinnamon here, which is a bit warming, and the jasmine, that as it starts drying down, the jasmine gives it a little bit of this floral airiness, a little bit green, so it has a little bit of these green floral nuances in the heart, and rose, which gives it a little bit of this this kind of romantic vibe. Yeah, that rose is definitely amorous. So ambergris here is definitely picking up. It's a little bit woody. It's not very prominent, but it's definitely there. And you get this oak moss. The oak moss here is definitely a little bit earthy. It is giving this more of a fougere aspect, but it's also kind of fixative and binding the rest of those base notes together. Now you have vetiver. Vetiver here is green and earthy, just like in the oak moss. And you have this musky, a little bit of this musky undertone in the base here. So there's definitely a fougere aspect with the oak moss and lavender, geranium, and a little bit of that vetiver here. So it's all kind of coming together in a kind of a green aspect. And there's also cedar here, which the cedar here is a little bit, it's a little bit sweet almost actually. It's a little bit sweet and a little bit sylvan the way that it's used here. I absolutely love this one, but it does have a little bit of that animalic tone. I can smell the way the civet and the cumin kind of come off each other now. So it's definitely a little forested with a cedar there as it's kind of starting to dry down. Now, I love this one. The longevity on me is really, really good. I get easily 8 hours, if not more, on my skin. It doesn't project a whole lot. It may be a couple of hours, like 2 tops, but it is an excellent, excellent fragrance. I wear this one dressed up, but I wear it just walking around town. I definitely have been wearing this one a lot. I've been wearing this one pretty much every week, a few times a week. When I want a really nice fougere kind of a fragrance, I've been reaching for this one a lot. So, and I think it can be worn all year round for sure. Definitely, it'll be okay in the wintertime, spring, cooler summer days for sure, and definitely fall. So that's Semi-Bespoke number 3. The next one is Semi-Bespoke number 10. Now, Semi-Bespoke number 10 was launched in 2005 as well. This one actually reminds me a lot, almost extremely closely to Roja Dove's Goodman's. Roja Dove Goodman's is one of my favorite top 10 Rojas of all time. I wear it a ton. But this one, in my opinion, is actually a better quality, even longer lasting version of that. This is kind of a floral musky fragrance. But it's actually, it has definitely also a sheeper vibe to it. Actually, no, I believe it's an amber spicy fragrance. This one is really meant to center around the note of frankincense or olibanum. And you definitely get that in the base there. But this one really dances around frankincense. So what do we get with Semi-Bespoke number 10? Let's see. And let me show you guys the bottle here. So you can see here the bottle. So you can see here that number 10. It's kind of faint, but you can see the number 10 there. Oh my God. I love this one so much. So right away you get this peach. The peach note is faint, but it really reminds me of the peach in Creation R Pour Homme, discontinued of course, but it smells similar to the way they use peach in that fragrance. It's prominent, it's juicy, it's fruity, but it pops right off the skin as soon as you spray it. So you have this coriander here. It's a bit peppery, and mandarin orange, which is very juicy and lush. Very, very almost like dripping this mandarin juices, like when you cut into a mandarin orange, that's what it smells like. So, star anise, if you guys have cooked with star anise before, it's very, almost smells like licorice and tarragon. You get that right off the top here with that, with a little bit of that mandarin orange and peach. It really kind of works really well together. But it does smell very similar to Goodman's. So clove is, I'm getting clove here. So clove here, the clove they're using here is probably eugenol acetate. It is a little bit warm. It's a little bit earthy and aromatic, but it's definitely that like an explosion of spices from the coriander and the clove and the star anise. It's like a spice cabinet exploded. So you get violet. Not violet leaf, but violet. And the violet leaves here are a little bit sweet and powdery, melded together with the jasmine. Now the jasmine here is a little bit airy and green. It's paired together very well with a rose. And you get this very nice bouquet of these florals in the mid here. So you get this kind of sweet, buttery violet and this little bit of this green jasmine here. There's also a touch of ylang-ylang, but it's not much. It's not a very floral fragrance. It's very faint. So the frankincense here is very prominent. It kind of stays with me through the life of the fragrance. It's definitely resinous. It's big. It is definitely it's a resinous, bombastic note here. It's making itself known. Yeah. It's like this celestial frankincense with oak moss, and the oak moss here is earthy. It's kind of grounding those other notes, those other deeper, darker notes towards the base, anchoring those down. You also get this kind of buttery sandalwood, which I love here, and this really lovely, slight powdery musk. So there's also the frankincense is paired together with this castoreum. Now the castoreum here is a little bit animalic, but almost like an animalic musky fragrance note they're using here, and that's balancing out those other resinous notes here with olibanum and other kinds of florals. It's kind of helping add another layer of depth here. And there's a bit of patchouli. The patchouli is green and warm, so you're getting this green, almost oriental vibe here. Definitely a frankincense-centered fragrance with a little bit of castoreum and other kinds of notes like sandalwood and musk, but it's really beautifully used here. I love this one. This one is honestly one of my favorites to kind of wear just around town. This definitely again reminds me of Goodman's, Roja Goodman's. It's easily could be a 12-hour plus fragrance on my skin. It projects for about a couple of hours, but the longevity is exceptional. I've worn this one a lot since I've gotten it because I love Goodman's so much. I've actually worn this one a lot more than Goodman's, and it's one that can pretty much be worn year-round. It might not last in the cold weather, but it definitely can stand up to most seasons. Then the last one is one of my all-time favorites from Roja, and this one is going to be beastly in the wintertime. This one is going to be one that I'm going to be reaching for a lot in the wintertime. Now, this one is another redundancy, but it's very, very similar to Roja Dove's London, which is discontinued, unfortunately. I love Roja Dove's London, but this one is, again, a higher quality version and much longer lasting. So this one is Roja Dove's 23. So this is Semi-Bespoke 23. Let me get some skin here. Let me find some extra skin. It's so strong. So this one was launched in 2017. This is a woody spicy. This was meant to commemorate the kind of the sunlight that's bouncing off of the coast, the Amalfi Coast. That was Roja's inspiration for this, is the kind of the sunlight that was portraying off of the Amalfi Coast, which is one of his favorite places to visit and vacation. And this one is, again, another big resinous, leathery, sort of an incensey, ambery fragrance. The Alabama and myrrh here are really big, but let's just see what we get. So the thyme here is very peppery and leathery. You get basil, which is kind of sharp and edgy. You get a big oregano note here. So there's oregano, thyme, and basil. It's definitely an aromatic opening with a little bit of its freshness from bergamot. So it's definitely just, it just pops in your face. It's a big opening. So you also have some geranium in the heart. Oh, it's so strong. I can't even smell it so close. It's so strong. So there's a rock rose in the base here. It's a little bit rosy and romantic and amorous, but it's a very short-lived kind of note here. The Alabama, the frankincense used here, is again very big. It's very lustrous. It's a robust resin they're using here, along with myrrh. So myrrh is another note they're using that is tying together with that frankincense to create a very resinous, almost ambery base. So clove here is being used. There's another aromatic quality to that. It's very piquant with this pine tree note. The pine tree here is very forested, a little bit sylvan. So you're getting this little bit of this green foresty vibe here, but by no means is this a green fragrance. You also have labdanum. The labdanum here is it's leathery and ambery. So you have that ambery, leathery quality that's big here with labdanum, which Rosa loves to use, with this Alabama, which is this resinous note. And then you also have the cypriol oil, or this Nagamartha. The Nagamartha here is a little bit arboriaceous, and he's tying it together with this kind of damp, wet, almost sweet patchouli, which you're getting this almost this wet patchouli note here at the end of this fragrance, at the lifespan here. And you know what's funny? I love the way they use cedar here, because cedar can be off my skin, can be a little bit sweet, sometimes a little bit earthy. The way it smells here is almost like pencil shavings. It smells, if you ever have fresh pencil shavings after you sharpen a pencil, that's what it smells like here. I love this one. There's also a little bit of this milky, buttery sandalwood here, so just a soft sandalwood that's a little bit, just finishes off this fragrance, and it's absolutely amazingly used here. It's just balancing out those other bigger labdanum, Nagamartha, and Alabama notes here. Just very, very well balanced. I've worn this one again pretty much every week since I've gotten this, and it's one of my absolute favorites. I cannot wait to wear this when it gets really cold outside. It's going to be very, very well received in the wintertime. This one I'm going to wear in the fall and winter. I would wear this one in the colder spring weather, but probably not so much in the summertime. It might be too much. It's just a little bit too bombastic and too bold for that kind of hot weather. All of these can be worn definitely dressed up in formal occasions. Absolutely. I wouldn't wear them I wouldn't wear 23 in high heat, but you can wear these also dressed down. All of these are unisex. You can wear whatever you want, when you want. I personally think that these, for the most part, are more masculine leaning, if that makes sense, but you can wear what you want, when you want. All of these have exceptional longevity. They all have at least 8 to 10 hours, if not more, on my skin, and they project pretty well. I love these. These are some of my favorite Roja Semi-Bespoke fragrances. I know this video did go over pretty long. I would love to know what your thoughts are on these Semi-Bespokes. Have you tried them? Have you not tried them at all? Have you tried Roja Semi-Bespokes and thought they're nothing special? Or do you love them as much as I do? I want to know what your favorite ones are from Semi-Bespoke. And out of the ones that I haven't reviewed, which ones do you guys want me to review next? So I'll be doing a 3 triple set fragrances from Roja Semi-Bespoke next week. Just let me know what you want me to review, and I'll be happy to do it. So that's all for this one, guys. I really appreciate you sticking around for this one. It means the world to me that you guys support my channel. As always, stay safe and take care of each other. Bye, everyone.